Hello friends, welcome to the Code Smart. In this video we will learn about Angular signals and we will cover what is the signal and we will try to understand its conceptual part regarding basic signals. Just like you can see, I am on the official documentation right now. So signal is basically used to update the UI regarding any variable. Suppose here constant count has been initialized with signal as a 0. So whenever the count value will change, it will automatically update the UI. Previously what happened that we used to manually detect the changes in order to show on the UI, but from Angular 16 onwards signals has been introduced by Angular and they are stable right now. So you can see here we can set the update, means we can set the value of count. Here we are, if you want to rewrite it, and we can update it as well by using the update function. So it will add the previous value plus 1. So they are the writable signals. It means that we can update its value. Now come to the computed signal. Computed signal is basically dependent on the original signal, writable signal. Just like you can see here, count has been writable signal and we have defined the double count. It's also a signal, but it's read only. Okay, we can read it only. So here we are multiplying with 2 the value of count. Okay, so signal are just like a getter function. We will call it as a function, it will return its value. So you can see double count signal depends on the count signal, and whenever that change, then it will update that. Okay, so here you can see computer signals are not writable signals, so we cannot set it to 3 double count. Okay, and computer signal dependence are dynamic. So computed signal depend on the signal of original signal, just like count. Okay, so whenever the value of count will update, this conditional count will run, and it will run only when somebody calls it. When someone will not call, then it will not rerun. Okay, similarly you can see on push component. Basically what happens, by default our Angular component is not on push, means whenever any changes happen in any component, so whole the Angular application will detect that particular change. But when we have used on push on any component, then whenever any change happen within that component, then only it will trigger the change detection. But since if we have used signals on push component, then by default it will take care. Whenever any signal will change, then it will update the UI. Similarly you can see effects are used to side effect, like if any value changes in the count signal, then automatically it will run the effect function. Okay, so effects always run at least once, and whenever any value change in this count signal, it will run it again. Okay, and similarly if I come to the, so you can see we generally define effects under the constructor function. Okay, because we can inject the inject function. Wherever we can inject the inject function, we can define the effect function. Okay, so you can see to create an effect outside country, you must pass an injector effect via options. So if you want to define outside the constructor, then you have to pass the injector function here, injector. So it will run the effect function. Now whenever the effect will be destroyed, then we can clean up the our effect. Whenever we can clean up our signal. Okay. Now here it's saying advanced topic, like if the same duplicate value changes, means suppose the count value is 1 and again changing to 1, then it will not trigger any effect. Okay, we can just define it here. By default it happens like this only. By default, if any signal value is changed to its previous value, then it will not trigger any update. Okay, now we have the see. So here we are saying the untracked, like you can see here in effect we have current user and counter. So if any one of them signal value will change, then effect will run. It will run this function. Suppose if I want to make sure that whenever the counter signal value change and we do not want to run the effect function, so we can use the untracked keyword, just like here we have used untracked. So whenever the counter signal value will change, it will not run the effect function. It will only run whenever the current user value changes. Okay, so we use like this. And last one, we can use cleanup function, just like whenever our signal is destroyed, whenever the effect is destroyed, then we can just like here set timer out and constant timer, and we will just clear timeout whenever the effect is destroyed. So effect is destroyed basically when the component is destroyed. Okay, so we have gone through the conceptual part on the official side. Now let's come to the practical one. Come to the VS Code, and here you can see my application is already running. Okay, so here I have shown the simple demo of signal. You can see when I click on increment button, it will update the, here it's updating the UI. Okay, and if I decrement, then also it's updating the UI. And here toggle name. So basically what happened, let's go to the code. Here I show you, it's the TS file, and here you can see I have defined the signal count, and I have explicitly mentioned it here, but by default implicitly it happens like this only. If the same value updated, then it will not trigger any update. Okay, and here name signal, code is smart by default, and here we have used the computed function. Computed is readable signal. Okay, so we are just multiplying it to the count value, so it will update the double count. Now come to the constructor. Here you can see we have used the effect function, and we have used the on cleanup as well. So what happens that this effect function is dependent on the count signal, and here you can see we have used the untracked. Untracked means it is independent of this name signal. So whenever the name of the signal value changes, it will not run the effect function. Okay, it's only dependent on count signal. So you can see here, if I go to the code, console log, okay, so here you can see if I make it increment, so you see the effect has been run, effect function has been run. But if I change the name, okay, Angular Pro, then nothing happens, because we have used the untracked keyword. Okay, and similarly for, you can see for set timeout, we have used the cleanup. Whenever a component will destroy, then it will clear the timeout. Okay, here we have used the on destroy function. So whenever component will be destroyed, whenever we change the component, it will be destroyed. Okay. So destroy is basically used to means that no data will be leaked. Okay. So if our effect will be destroyed, then nothing update will happen here. So here you can see we are updating the value of count signal. When click on increment button, when click on decrement button, we are decreasing the count value, and on reset we are setting it to 0. Count is 0. Here you can see toggle name. So we are setting the name. Okay. So by default it's code smarts, and if this is not, then we are using Angular Pro. Okay. And here we are define the untracked function. In this function we are trying to show that if the name value has been changed, then effect is not running. Okay. Here you come to the HTML part. Here you can see double count computed value. Here we are showing. Here we are toggling the name. Okay, just come to the UI part. Here you can see it's Angular Pro, right? When I toggle the name code smarts, you see nothing, our effect function is not running. If I log my, you see code smart, means name value has been updated, but effect function is not running only because we have used the untracked. Okay. Suppose if I remove this untracked, okay, what happens if I just remove this untracked? So what will happen? You can see this dot name. Okay. You just see runs out, application will reload. You just see now we have removed the untracked, and when you was change the name like Angular Pro, you see now effect is running. Okay. So now even if I change the count, in both scenario it will run the effect function. Okay. Suppose we want to use this untrack for count. Okay. Okay. So what will happen now? Untrack this one count. Now it will only dependent on name signal. Okay. Just see once we reload. Now you can see I am increasing the value, but nothing is consoling, only because it is independent of the count signal. But if I change the name, you just see it's changing. Okay. So signal is very important concept right now in the Angular, because whatever the RxJS we used in Angular previous, but now Angular is trying to move everything signal based. Even when we trigger the API, its value will be in the signal. Okay. If you go to the official documentation, here you can see it's a link, advanced LinkedIn topic, signal, like linked signal and resources. Okay. So we will cover these two concepts in different video, but this was the only basics about signal, so that you can understand how the basically Angular chain detection works. Okay. And you can find this code on my GitHub profile. If I open my GitHub, okay, so whatever the code I have shown you in the video, you can find it over here in my repository. Okay, Angular YouTube demo. So you can just clone this repository and run on your system. So whenever you learn anything new about Angular, just always refer to its official documentation, because most of the time it's latest one, updated time. because other sources might be outdated, but it's very updated. So you will always prefer this official documentation for any type of topic or concept you want to clear. Okay, so I think it's helpful. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.